Good morning student. Myself Professor Dhaval Chandarana and we are continue on our unit number 5 cyber ethics. Guys, on our previous lecture we will start our unit number 5 of cyber law and ethics subject, and on our previous lecture we will discuss the importance behind a cyber law. In previous lecture we will discuss some of the constraints why we are requiring a cyber law, because I will just conclude a previous lecture that on a regular, updated, digitalized technological world, every people are use more and more digitalized form, and for that we will require a laws which is happened in concept of cyberspace, or we can say which help of cyberspace whatever the activity should be happened. According to the my knowledge, a cyber law, it is the mandatory need to define anything illegal with help of a cyberspace. So on our previous lecture we will study what is the importance behind a cyber law, or we can say in general what is the actual requirement nowadays in form of cyber laws. In previous lecture we will discuss some of the example through which we can easily understand that why we are studying a cyber law in nowadays. So guys, today we will discuss some of the another topic of this particular lecture, or we can say particular unit, a cyber ethics. And for that today we will discuss a significances of cyber ethics, and a second point we will discuss a need for the cyber regulations and ethics. Guys, I will just remind you, it is the most important to understand what is the actual cyber law it is, because we know that we are understanding what is the cyber crime, what are the different activities should be happen on illegal activity through the help of internet, but the actual concept what is a cyber law, it is mandatory to understand. So for that we will discuss a cyber ethics and cyber law in this particular unit. So guys, for the today's lecture we will start with the significances of cyber ethics. Cyber ethics is the study of ethics pertaining to computers, covering user behaviors and what a computer are programmed to do. Means whatever the activity which will happen on the concept of internet with help of computer, whatever the program will be happen in concept of computer life, or we can say computer activity, it should be done by the human itself. So how this affect individual and the society, we need to understand it. For the year, various government have entered regulations, while organization have explained a policy about a cyber ethics, because nowadays government, private sectors, personal business, it should be converted in form of a digitalized platform. So for that, those who are use those technology and all these users who want to use this particular cyberspace, they must be aware about a different crime should be happen in with help of cyber activity, and for that they must be aware about a cyber ethics. With the increasing of young children's using on the internet, it is now a very essential than ever to tell a children about how to properly operate the internet, and it's dangerous because on the pandemic situation all this education will be converted in online, but what was the actual use of the internet we are not defined in concept of children, in form of student, in form of those users who are become a new partner of those activities. So for that, government, technical peoples who can first define the actual requirement to use a internet, what are the different activities should be happen on the internet. If you want to involve those activities, then what kind of awareness will be required. If you are not involving, then what was the awareness we need to define. So first that they must be defined or introducing how to use a proper internet and how to involve those particular activity if you are aware of these technical peoples. So it is the mandatory to define how to use a proper internet and proper activity which should be happen on a internet. It is the essentials or specially hard to talk to teen, because, or we can say teenager, is become 10 to 13 15 years children, they do not want to be a lecture about what is the right and what is the wrong, because it is the things should be happened on those kind of ages. They are not getting actual things. They are not accept those lecture who are actually be a knowledgeable things, or they can not accepting those information in concept of lectures. So there seem two things. They have it's all a short out, but they are not in concept of solve out those activity which should be happen on a futures. Like lots of game are available on a internet. Through the internet they can part of this game and take a crime, or we can say they can suicide with the help of those kind of tasks which should be defined on this game. So guys, if you are not part of your teenager, or we can say if you are not part on those kind of age which should be not acceptable those kind of lectures, then you must be aware how the cyber ethics will be happen, why they are introducing on a market, and how to use a proper internet, because internet is most dangerous things nowadays. All this legal and illegal activity happen with this internet. If you are not aware about those activities should be happen on an illegal way on a computer system, and if directly or indirectly to take a part on this activity, then it should be very harmful for you, for your family, and for your life. So you must be aware how to access those activity. It should be a really helpful or not, and then you can take part on those activities. Cyber ethics is a branch of applied ethics that examines a moral, legal, and the social issues at the intersections of computer, or we can say information and a communications technology. So it is nothing but the basic all over structures which should be defined in concept of cyber ethics. The Center for the Internet Security, or we can say IS, has defined a cyber ethics as the code of responsible behavior on the internet. Guys, only this line should be helpful to take a part on those activity which should be happen on a internet. You just remember this line, the code of responsible behavior on the internet, because everything should be done by the human being. If you take a part on a positive way, then you can get a benefit. If you take a part on a negative side, then you can harmful your system, harmful your behaviors, harmful of your image and your families. So you just need to understand responsible behavior on this internet. Cyber ethics refers to the code of responsible behavior on the internet, just as we are taught to act responsible in every life with the lessons such as don't take what doesn't belongs to you and do not harm other. First we need to care ourselves. If we are caring ourselves, then we can directly care our families, and then if we are caring our families, then we can directly caring our society where we are living to it. We must act responsible in the cyber world as well as. So first we need to aware about ourselves. Then if we are taking care against ourselves on the internet, then we can going to spread those information to the family to society, and society to the world. So it is the actual change behind awareness about a cyber ethics and use of internet on a proper manner. The basic rule is do not do something in a cyberspace that you would consider wrong or illegal in everyday life. Because first, if we are starting with a new technological purpose, then first we need to understand it should be legal way or illegal way. It should be a take helpful for our life or not. If we sure about those activity which should be helpful and it should be a take a legal way, then we can use those activity, use those internet activities which should be happen on a concept of cyberspace, and take a part of those all this activity which should be happen on a legal way and helpful for your family as well as for us. Responsible behavior on the internet is nothing but do not use a rude or offensive language in form of communications, in form of chatting, in form of feedbacks and anything, because it is dangerous for your life, for your business, for your family, as well as for against a cyber ethics. Do not a cyberbully means do not any perform any kind of activity should be in legal way, or do not take part on those illegal activity with your cyberspace. Do not plagiarize means do not copy any content over the internet. Do not break into the someone else's computer means can't perform hacking directly or indirect form. Do not use someone else's passwords means do not theft identity according to the requirement, it should be a cyber crime. Do not attempt to infect or in any way to try to make someone else's computer unusable means as a technological people, if you are aware about how to hack a someone's computer, then please do not perform those kind of activity and do not share any kind of another informations on a legal or illegal way to unusable computer of someone's systems. Adheres to copyright restrictions when downloads a material from the internet, including a software, games, movie or music. Guys, this is the last line is must be remember on those all these people which we are using a pirated version, and it is also be a cyber crime because we are not purchasing a legal software. We can directly use a pirated or a crack version of this particular software, so it also be a cyber crime. Someone's who become a claim on those activity on those of software we will use on concept of crack version, so it should be also to aware about how a cyber ethics should be happen on the concept of illegal download like a movies, software, games and etc. Now we will understand a second concept of a cyber regulations and ethics, the actual need or actual requirement for a cyber regulations and ethics. Cyber ethics is the philosophy study of ethics pertaining to the computers, encompassing users' behavior and what computers are programmed to do is the actual behavior of the computer system and how this affect a individual and a society. If you are taking a positive way, if you are take only those activity or participate only those activities should be helpful for you, helpful for your society, and it should be done with the legal notes, then it should be really helpful for you, your personal growth, your familiar growth, your business growth as well as your societal noticeables. For the years, a various government has enacted a regulations while organizations have defined a policies about a cyber ethics. Governments nowadays take a online seminar for the cyber regulations, for a cyber rules, for the activity which happen on the internet, how to take aware about those activity, how to use a social media, what kind of post you need to post it, what are the different posts we will not comment it, like it. If some of the post will be against a government, then also if you are performing a like or share those posts, it should also be against a cyber law. So it should be awareness about how to use a social media nowadays, because we are spent a lots of time, our day-to-day lots of time on a social media, but we are not aware how to use a actual and legal way of those activities. Need of cyber ethics. We will discuss some of the points through which we can easily understand that what is the actual requirement of cyberspace. Increasing a cyber crime, increasing a tendency of cyber crime, demanding need of proper sets of code and rules. As previously we will discuss, we will spend a lots of time on social media like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp and Twitter and lots of things, but we didn't aware about how to use a proper way of social media, how to take a positive concept behind a social media, because on a social media every news should be getting on a faster way, so it is a positive way. But if you are take on those kind of group, those kind of activity should be not part on a legal cases or not according to the government point of view, then it should be a illegal way to use a social media. Increasing unauthenticated behaviors, there are the many kind of ethical or the moral irresponsible behaviors in this space opened up by the internet from the actions involving people's financial status through the hate speech or written regarding a gender, race, and cultural. Guys, I will just give you the latest example against a farmer law which should be defined on Delhi on 26th of January. Everything should be come under this cyber law because all this activity should be a schedule on the with help of internet or with help of cyberspace. So if you are directly or indirectly take a part on those kind of activity, then you are a criminal in concept of cyber law. So please guys, if you are using a internet, then please follow the proper manual to how to use internet or what are the actual behavior requirement to use those proper internet uses. Then spying, actions such as the individual spying on a governments or the corporations and so on the resist the need of cyber's ethical code. Spying means take a theft on those activity which should be a secret in form of private sector or in form of government sector. If we are hack those plan, hack those activity, hack those schedule without any kind of permission, it is nothing but a spy. Threats to a privacy means identified threats. It is also part of threats of privacy like username and password. We need to catch those username and password without any kind of unauthorized activity, unauthorized users activity, then it is part of threats of privacy, and therefore we need to require a cyber regulations and ethics. Privacy from an ethical and the moral point of view should be a central to dignity and the individuality and a personal suits. Means if you are using someone's username and password for any kind of legal or illegal activity, it's nothing but under the threats of privacy. Fraud and impersonations. These are the malicious activity that occurs due to the direct or indirect abuse to a private information like child abuses. Online child abusement, it is also part of frauds and impersonations. Then fraud in concept of e-commerce, like they can show some of the another product and they can deliver some other products. They are not delivering your proper products. They are taking money as per the original product, but they are not delivering original products. So it is nothing but a fraud. And for that, we need to understand a cyber regulations and ethics. Identity theft, public records search engine, and the database are the main culprits contributions to the rise of cyber crimes. So it is the things which we need to understand that where the actual cyber regulation is requirement, and those all these point are most important point to understand or aware about those activity which should be happen with all of internet. Ownerships, the controversy over the ownership occurs when the property of information is informed upon the uncertainty. Like ownership means if as a developer you can develop some of the unique model and publish on the internet, if someone would take those model and prepare some another module and publish on the internet, it's against ownership. Means some copyright should be there, and for that you need to take a permissions those who are a actual owner of this particular model. If you can reuse those products, then also you need to take a permissions. Intellectual property rights. A copyright's music is illegal to transfer to others users. Like if I will post my video on a YouTube channel without my permission, you can upload those video on your YouTube channel. It is against your intellectual property rights. If you can use my video, then it should be illegal. But if you are republish my video on an internet platform with any of the platform, then it is a crime. Digital rights management, DRM. DRMs involves the way this system could be undermine the fair use of provisions of the copyrights law. It is also part of a DRM, digital rights management. Like if we want to use some of the content on our platform, then first we need to request to use those kind of content who are a actual owner of this content, and then if they provide these permissions to use those content, then we can use in our platform. Freedom of information. We know that we are on Indian as well as on freedom nature. India is now freedom country, but some of the things which should be not take a part as in freedom in concept of informations, also known as a freedom of speech and the freedom of seek. This is the common subject to limitations are dependent upon the country, society and cultures concerned. We know that we are a those kind of country through which we can easily getting all this information over the internet, but how to use those information, how to take advantage of this information, or how we can take a benefit over the internet, it must be required to understand in concept of cyber regulations and ethics. We are take a part of a freedom country, but we are not freedom provide to a speech. We can't speak against any of the political party, against any kind of caste, against any kind of gender. It is against a cyber law. And the last, digital divide. The gap of access between the countries or a region of this world is called as global digital divide. Like if we communicate with outside of India, some of the rules will be a common, but some of the rules are not common in concept of a USA in India, USA in Canada, India in Canada. Some formations are there, but some of the actual activity like use of internet, it should be a different rules, different regulations and different behaviors of as per the region, as per this country. So if we want to communicate with outside of country, first we need to aware those rules through which we can easily identify it should be a legal or illegal activity. So guys, if you want to concern your business in exporting system, or you can export your product in outside of India, then you must be aware about how the actual activity should be considered in outside of country where you can communicate it. And for that you need to understand a cyber regulations and ethics of those particular country, which should be defined by the governments. So guys, it is the things which we need to understand how a cyber regulation will be introducing and what is the actual requirement to understand about a cyber regulations and ethics. I hope you are enjoying and I hope you are learning some new terminology in concept of cyber law and ethics. Thank you so much.